So for those of you who are interested, I thought I'd make a video telling the truth about Deliveroo. Basically, Deliveroo is a company that really doesn't give a shit about its employees. Doesn't give a shit about it. Just basically gives a shit about money. It's just basically a money making entity. Having worked for Deliveroo for the best part of at least a year or so, through different periods as well. I started working for them in, I think it was 2018, and then also I worked for them in 2019. And when I started working for them in 2019, they'd made some changes, some for the better, like weekly pay instead of instead of two weekly pay, however you say that. So basically, when I first started Deliveroo in 2018, they were paying you every 2 weeks. And yeah, you still had to work. You still had to basically go out and work two. Was it two? Yeah, two nights a week, 7 p.m. till 9 p.m. so that you could get like a good like score, so that you could essentially get a good shift, and then you could put some good get some good hours basically. They later on changed that in 2019 so that it was just free login. So there was no benefit for going at late at night because it was busier. It was dark, cold, whatever, right? So they changed that, which I definitely approved of. However, it also meant that there was more people working, which obviously made more competition, so therefore less orders. But all the while, I really got the feeling that Deliveroo just didn't give a shit about the workers. I know that they were really seemed to, even though they were advertised as like a cycling company, and that's how they started, they really only seemed to be interested in cars, well, especially motorbikes. I don't know why they'd be interested in cars. Cars are the slowest vehicle that you could possibly be on in a city centre. Now, most Deliveroos operate in a city centre, and most of the restaurants you couldn't even get to in a car. I remember seeing these fat slugs get out of a car and waddle 200 meters, 500 meters to a restaurant. Whereas me riding everywhere on the bike, with my backpack on and stuff, I'd literally park the bicycle right outside the shop or restaurant or whatever, and I'd lock it up and I'd go straight in with my bike, straight in with the bag, sorry, and I'd collect it straight onto the bike and off. And literally, the fatty from the car was still waddling, right? He was still waddling to the restaurant. So I don't know why they would prefer cars, but they seem to prefer cars apparently, and they seem to prefer scooters. So there were scooters. They also had access issues for a lot of the restaurants that weren't on main roads and stuff. They would have to walk, and you'd see them walking along, from the scooters to the restaurants. Sometimes they had to walk, I'd say, at least 200 meters. Probably not as far as the cars, but they certainly couldn't drive around the around the high roads like the bicycles could, right? So, and yeah, they implemented a rule that basically was like an up yours to bicycles, and they started not only giving scooters priority. Pretty much anyone on a scooter, this was before they put in the free login zone. Basically, anyone on a scooter, even if they didn't work a Saturday night and a Sunday night and a Friday night or whatever, they basically got to the point where they could pick the best hours. They got priority. They got like a priority zone or whatever, right? So at the end of the day, Deliveroo is not a green company. You might see the adverts, you might see the cyclists, and thinking, oh, cool, he's just cycling around delivering food, and he's got a low carbon footprint and whatever. But now the reality is basically a bunch of scooter drivers, a bunch of taxi drivers who moonlight as a Deliveroo driver, in the cars, basically. Some people with probably 2 or 3 different accounts on the same phone, like scamming the system, basically. All sorts of things like that. I remember seeing one car driver, and I saw in the back of his car. I wasn't staring. It was just as I went by, and he'd open up his car to put in the order, and I saw about 4 or 5 bags in the order, in the back, and this wasn't from this one. He just literally had one bag from this one. I saw him, and then he had about 4 different bags, and each one of them wasn't like, oh, it was a big order from the same place. It was, each one of them had a different color and a different sign or logo or whatever. So the guy was he'd obviously just gone and picked up 4 orders or whatever. So it's like, probably smart entrepreneur type character, but at the end of the day, that's how it is with Deliveroo. So, and another thing as well, if you don't zoom around like a crazy maniac, blast through red lights, and literally just drive like crazy to get to and from the restaurants, you're gonna be slow. You're gonna earn like no money, and you're not even gonna earn minimum wage. Like, the reason I, on average, earned £12 to £15 per hour was because I wasn't one of those ones to get off up the hills. There was a lot of hills in Nottingham Zone. I wasn't one of the ones to get off the hills. I saw so many guys getting off the hills and walking up the hill. That takes 10 minutes, right? I was zooming up in 1 or 2 on the bike. And yeah, I was getting into zone 4 doing things like that. Because I had the training for it. But yes, some guys were doing that, and then they made this thing as well where you had to like wait 10 minutes. So some people you'd get there, you'd get to the order, and you'd be like, hey, I've got the order, and they'd be like, oh yeah, I'm just coming down in a minute. Okay, you're still waiting there. 10 minutes later, there's no one there. So bam, it just gets left on the floor, and you sign it as gone, because you've got to. You're in a business of making money at the end of the day, so, which is very annoying as well, because it's perfect when you literally knock on the door or go to the apartment and they're straight down. Sometimes the people were waiting for you. I used to thank them people so much, but the reality is you get to it and it's some half asleep student character, right? Especially in the Nottingham Zone, it's some half asleep student character who's literally doesn't give a shit, and you ring them and they don't even answer. So you're like, what the fuck do I do, right? But you ring them, they don't even answer, and eventually someone like, comes down looking like, oh, you've just woke them up kind of thing, and it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, right? And that was the reality of it. So and then you'd call the customer support. They'd randomly ring you in the middle of your shift, and they would complain that you'd done something or whatever. I just hung up on them. But at the end of the day, sometimes it was a nightmare. It was an awesome job in some ways. I like riding around, the freedom, just man and his bike. Like, what's more pure than that, right? But then you'd have the issues like not being able to get enough shifts because you're not a scooter or a car. Like I said, they fixed it later and they made a free login zone. Especially for Nottingham. I don't know about other zones. I remember even seeing a guy on a bike, and he came here from the train, and he came here from, I think it was Loughborough, right? And that was like 50 kilometers away or something. So he'd paid to get on a train to get into a different zone, because that's how bad it was. That's how bad his zone was, that he'd had to come into the Nottingham Zone just so that he could make some money. Like, wow. So at the end of the day, I really don't know how things are now. I can only see it getting worse. I remember there being people protesting as well. I think it was during the Super Peak. I wasn't protesting because I was actually still making good money, so it didn't really affect me. So I'm not sure if they detect how fast you are, and then they give you priority if you're faster. Because I remember seeing loads of bike riders who were like, oh, I can't get orders and things, and they didn't ever get any orders, and they were just sat there like in the city centre. And then there was me constantly getting orders, like rejecting orders, because it was like, ah, oh, this order's shit. So I was being so picky. And another thing that they probably don't tell you, or you probably don't even know until you get in there as well, is some restaurants take like, it's literally you get there and they start cooking the meal, or you get there and they haven't even started cooking the meal. Like, as soon as that Deliveroo order is ordered, like someone orders it online, they should be cooking it like immediately, and then you should get there and it's in a nice bag waiting for you. But that's not the case. Like, the case is you get there and we haven't even started cooking this yet, so immediately reject the order, go. Like, otherwise you're going to be waiting there like 20 minutes, and in that 20 minutes you could have done 2 orders, or at least 1, right? So that's the dark truth about Deliveroo there. So let me know your experiences and your thoughts in the comments down below. Give this video a like or a dislike, and I'll see you in the next video.